So the first law that we're going to talk about today is called the sine law. Okay. So our goal for today is to learn how to find the measure of sides and angles in oblique triangles using that specific sine law. Okay. An oblique triangle, just to start with a little bit of definition, an oblique triangle is any triangle that does not have a right angle. Okay. All right. So once we move out of the right angles, then we call them an oblique triangle. Now we have two kinds of oblique triangles. We have the acute triangles and the obtuse triangles, but it doesn't matter. They're both called, in general, oblique triangles. And recall that angles are across from their corresponding sides, right? Remember we talked about that yesterday when we're naming angles. When we're naming our triangles, right? We have angle A, then side A is the one that's across from it. Angle B, then side B is the one across from it. Angle C, side C is across from it. Okay? Naming is very important when it comes to these laws because we're going to have to use the names, right, in the formulas. So the conditions to use sine law is you need to know two angles and any side. Doesn't matter which side, okay? Because the minute that I know two angles, I can find a third one, right? Because what do we know about the sum of the angles inside a triangle? 180. If I know two, all what I have to do is 180 minus the 2, yes? So it's pretty straightforward. So all what I need to know two angles and any of the sides, and I can use the sine law. So this is where you use the sum of angles to find the third angle if needed, right? We don't always have to use this part. If needed, you can do it. You can use that. So this is the formula, or this is a situation where we're going to solve for a side. And the formula is, because I'm solving for a side, the sides are going to be on the top. And the formula is side A divided by sine angle A is equal to side B divided by sine angle B equal to side C divided by sine angle C. Okay, so as you can see, the correlation here is that you have the side divided by the sine of the angle that corresponds to that side. Okay, now in this situation, I have three ratios, and they're all equal to each other. When I'm solving, I'm going to use two of the ratios. Okay, so it's up to whatever is given to me, then I'm going to pick the two ratios that I need to use. Okay, I don't use all three of them. I only pick two. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to have the two angles. I'm going to have one of the sides, right? And I'm going to look for the other side. Okay, so what I will have three known values and one unknown. Okay, no matter what scenario we have, no matter which one we have, I'm going to have the two angles and one of the sides. I'm going to look for the other side. Does that make sense to you? Okay, we're going to look at examples so in a bit so you understand how to do it. All right? So this is the scenario where I have two angles and any of the sides. I can use the sine law. And the reason why it's called the sine law is because we use sine A, sine B, sine C. Okay? Again, with respect to the names, it could be X, Y, and Z, right? And then all what you have to do is you have to change the letters. So it will be X over sine X equals to Z over sine Z equals to Y over sine Y. Okay? So the names doesn't matter. The other situation is if I'm given two sides. So if they gave me two sides, so let's say they gave me this side and this side. Now in this case, they can't give me just any angle. It should be an angle that's opposite to one of the given sides. Okay? So in this case, let's name this A, B, C. Okay? So let's say if they gave me side B and side C, right? In this case, they're given to me B and C, then they must also give me either angle B or angle C. One of the opposite angles must be given in order for me to be able to use the sine law again in this situation. Okay? So let's say if they gave me angle B here. Okay? Then because I know angle B and side B, I know side C, then I can solve for angle C using the ratios. Again, all in this scenario, I must be given three things to solve for the fourth one. Okay? So you know two sides in this case, and one corresponding, which is an opposite angle. This is very important part. Otherwise, you cannot use the sine law in this scenario. So in this case, I'm finding the opposite angle. Okay? Because I'm solving for an angle, then I use exactly the same thing, but in this case, we flip them. We flip everything because I'm looking for an angle, so the angle is going to be on the top. So it's going to be sine A over A equal to sine B over B, which equal to sine C over C. Again, this scenario, I'm going to have to use two of the ratios and not all three of them. Okay? So in the case that I gave you right here, because I know B and I know part of C, then I must use the B and the C part. Okay? So I'll use the second two ratios, so sine B over B equal to sine C over C. Okay? I know angle B, I know side B, I know side C. I'm looking for angle C. Okay? So these are the two formulas, the sine law formulas that we use. It depends on the scenario that we have. Okay? So let's look at the examples. So the first thing that you always have to ask yourself, is it a right angle triangle or is it an oblique triangle? Okay? Because if it's a right angle triangle, you're going to use SOHCAHTOA, or you're going to use Pythagorean theorem, whatever we learned yesterday. If it's not a right angle triangle, then you're going to think about the sine law, and then we're going to learn about the cosine law as well. Okay? So in this case, is it a right angle triangle? No. This is a 95 degrees, right? Good. So what is given to me? Two angles on one side. So that is similar to the first scenario, right? So I'm given two angles on any side. Now the good thing here is, look, can I have your attention for a second, please? So the good thing here is that the angle and then the opposite side is given. So I don't have to find the third angle, right? Unless they gave me this side, then I have to find the third angle. In this case, they gave me an angle on its opposite side, so that's perfect. I know angle D, right? What am I looking for? Side D, okay? So let's set up our ratios, okay? I know angle E and side E, and I know angle D, and I'm looking for side D. So what would be my ratios? So what letters do I use? So because I'm going to use the first scenario, right? My side is going to be on the top, and the sine is going to be on the bottom, okay? So it's going to be side E, okay, small d over sine D equals to E over sine E. Okay? Are we okay with this? Now I'm going to plug in the given information. I'm going to plug in the values. Okay? Side D, we don't know what that is. So this is what we're looking for. Over sine, angle D is 40 degrees. Good morning, Matthew. Equal to, what's side E? 38 over sine 95. Okay? How do you isolate for side D? Remember, I'm looking for D.
Yeah, move sine 40
Yeah.
to the other side.
Yeah.
You multiply.
Exactly. So I call this half cross multiply. Okay. So all what I have to do is I have to bring that sine 40 to the other side, and that's going to be multiplying by the numerator. Okay. So you're going to bring the sine 40 over, and that's going to be 38 times sine 40 over sine 95. Okay. And that's the reason why we have two different versions, is to make it easier for us to solve. Okay. So that's going to be D equals to 38 sine 40 over sine 95. And the answer is 24.5. Make sure that because it's a side, you're going to keep it to one decimal place, and then the unit is going to be centimeters. Are we good? All right. Now in the second scenario, what am I given? One angle and two sides. That's right. Do I have an angle on its opposite side?
Yes.
Yes. So I can use the sine law. Okay. In this case, I'm looking for angle C. Okay. I'm looking for angle C, and I know side C. I have angle A and side A. So it's important that I have the angle and its opposite side. These are given to me. Okay, so let's set up the ratios. So what would the ratios be? Sine C over C equal to sine A over A. Okay, so this is side A, this is side C. Okay, now since I chose my formulas, all what I have to do is I have to plug in the information. So that's going to be sine C, I don't know what angle C is, over side C, which is 12, equal to sine 59 over 19. Okay. Again, because what I'm looking for is sine C, which is on the top, all what I have to do is I have to half cross multiply. So I have to multiply the 12 by the sine 90, and that gives me sine C. What do you get when you do this? Zero point 54137. Is this my answer for angle C? What do I have to do to find angle C? The inverse of sine, okay? Anytime you're looking for an angle, remember what I said? I said that yesterday, right? Even with when we had the sine, the trig ratios, anytime we had to look for an angle, we had to do the inverse of that specific ratio. So in this case, it's going to be sine inverse of the 0.5. You see that I kept at least 4 or 5 decimal places, okay? If you want an accurate answer, you want to keep as many decimal places as you can. Don't leave it to just 0.5, okay? So what did we get? 33? Yep. So if I do C equal, remember that angles are to the degree, so you don't leave decimals for the angles. So that is going to be 33 degrees. Are we good with that? Do you understand the two scenarios? Perfect.